Hey folks, hope you're well. Szeto here. So I wanted to talk about the video I put out last week. It was the stop motion of one of my sort of signature paddles being made. And yeah, basically wanted to describe that particular process. For starters, it took about the course of 4 days, 3 nights and 1 full Sunday. Photo-wise, it took about 673 photos, according to Lightroom. And yeah, comprised it into about a 69-second clip. So not quite 24 frames per second, but you know, I was happy enough with it, and I think the foley and everything like that kind of accounted for the video and kind of made it a full piece. So the first thing to mention actually are some of the major inspirations behind this particular piece. Frank Howarth, if folks don't know him already, he's incredible. His lawn chair 2 video, where he basically built that whole lawn chair through a stop motion process. I think it's like something like 10 minutes, beautiful long form content. That was a huge inspiration. Secondly, W.Werft on Instagram and YouTube, or my pal Fritz in Germany, also created, he also creates epic stop motions as well. I don't know where he finds the time, but he produces some beautiful work. So W.Werft, or Fritz's work, was actually one of my first inspirations. I saw his video on my pal Trent Presler's Instagram, and that was incredible. And then from there, after I started YouTubing, Frank Howarth's work came to light, and yeah, just kind of really blew me away, frankly. So we'll jump right into my video and take a look at kind of how it unfolded and stuff. The first part is actually the grip tape unraveling, and to kind of add something different to Fritz's work and also something different to Frank's work, I wanted to actually create a bit of a hyperlapse feel. So I started unraveling the grip tape, and then I started walking down the hallway and kind of having a hyperlapse from the grip tape in our finishing room all the way to our bandsaw. And you know what, the camera, to avoid obstacles, I should have maybe created a cleaner path, but I was having to readjust, you know, the focus of the camera. So some people commented that they didn't like it and found it confusing, but some people also found it, oh wow, you kind of added like a walk type feel to it. So it was kind of hit and miss in terms of feel, and you know, something that was different I wanted to try, so I was happy enough with it. From there I went right into the bandsawing, and that's where I kind of bandsawed out the 1" by 1" strips with the bandsaw there, and that was kind of a fun process. Actually, something that was kind of interesting was to kind of get the board into position. Sometimes I'd actually have my hand in it, and because I've had so many shots from the same frame without my hand in it, I was able to relatively easily edit out my hand actually. So that kind of made that particular section there. From this part, it's also important to mention that, actually jumping back to the camera that I'm using, I'm actually shooting right now with the Panasonic Lumix GH5. Frank, from his tutorial video on how to do these actually, mentioned that, you know, your best bet is to actually leave your camera completely still and find a remote trigger. With the Lumix, the beautiful thing is on my phone I have my Panasonic image app that I can then connect with Wi-Fi to the GH5. So I was able to do that and kind of basically control all the shots through my phone. Jumping back into the video, I did take some liberties. I didn't really shoot every single step like what seemed to be the Lawn Chair 2 video. You know, I just kind of went from cutting on the bandsaw straight into all the pieces of the paddle coming together into the jigs that I generally use to glue up the blades there. You'll also notice the big thing is also the sound. Sound design, I tried to really create something beautiful with this particular piece. So, you know, the foley that I kind of used, you know, things like the clamping together. A major resource for that was the YouTube audio library. In there you can search different types of sound effects, and that was incredibly useful for this particular project. It was super fun, and if you just take a quick look at my timeline, you actually see it's as busy, and I tried to keep a relatively continuous sound on the go. So it's something a little bit different for me, but I think is incredibly important for a piece like this. One other thing to mention here is also glue. You'll notice that I didn't really glue anything together, or there's no actual glue in this piece. So there's kind of 2 approaches from there. There's one where, from Fritz's video, you'll actually see he makes something quite beautiful of the glue. He actually, you know, kind of mocks the glue for not being able to jump up on his kayak in his particular build, while Frank, goes about the same approach that I kind of went, or that I mimicked after, which is like the no glue approach. You're just kind of gluing up, and suddenly, bam, there it is. So for this particular piece, I kept it simple, no glue, and just kind of went from there. So from there, you kind of have the router running across really quickly. Then you got the planer coming across, the power plane coming across, taking off some material. And then I take some liberties, throw out a bunch of sound effects like sanding, the power plane and everything like that. But all while you're just basically looking at wood chips flying out of the power planer, and you just kind of get that feel that things are happening to the paddle. All while this time-lapse is kind of building up material that comes off the paddle. So that was kind of the approach. And then from there, you really just see the paddle walking out on its own, standing up, and then, I kind of do the frame by frame where I'm in there, finishing, and it just kind of, you just hear those mop sounds, essentially, or that brushing sound, where each stroke is kind of added, and then bam, there you have a finished paddle. The colors really pop, and yeah, I just have a beautiful finished product by the end of it. So, I didn't shoot a crap ton of behind the scenes footage or anything like that. So it was really just wanted to talk over the video and just kind of give you some insights as to how it was done. Some major lessons learned were that I actually pre-tested the concept earlier in the week. I actually made a video where it was simply just the finishing. And I had done that over the course of a morning where I finished like 6 different paddles and basically used that whole brush and stroke technique. Once I saw that, I kind of got the spark that this idea would work, and I got pumped and just went forward, and yeah, over the course of 3 nights, 1 day, pumped out the entire video. So that was super fun. And then lastly, I actually wanted to talk a bit, why not, about the social media aspect of how the clip went and things like that afterwards. So I ended up posting a preview of it 2 Sundays ago or Sunday ago. And then I ended up posting the video last Wednesday. It's kind of a full minute-long video. It got quite a bit of traction. Certain folks were stoked, including my pal Trent, who runs Predator's Little Wood Shop, which is an amazing account. He builds incredible canoes. So I bugged him. I was like, "Hey, Trent, would you mind posting this video and stuff?" And he was fortunate enough to say yes, but he wanted a quicker cut of it. And so I cut it down to about 24 seconds and then sent it his way. And he posted it, I forget when, but I think it's been something like 6 days, and fortunately it got something like 130 some odd thousand views and stuff like that, and 140 some odd comments. So it just kind of took off. Wood Review reposted it, and yeah, it was, kind of went relatively well on the back end when it comes to that. I gained something like 700 followers. Who are hopefully passionate about the same things I am into, like the woodworking and kind of creating beautiful cinema behind it. So yeah, I'm stoked, and just, hopefully I can keep putting out rad content, and yeah, just kind of keep pushing things. So that was kind of my process and kind of what happened this last week with that particular video I put out, and I hope you enjoyed kind of a look behind how it actually came out. So more to come, big projects on their way, and more canoe work, kind of waiting on artists and things like that too at the moment. But yeah, hopefully some rad stuff to come, and thank you for watching this. Take it easy.